Hello everyone and Assalamu alaikum. I am Ikra LinkedIn Wali, Head of Interview Department and also a facilitator at Rohani School, Korangi campus. And also I am a graphic designer, video editor and coder. And also I have completed my 200 plus interviews and 50 pluses with foreigners, motivational speakers and entrepreneurs also. And as you guys know, I invited an amazing and special guest and on my interviews and my podcast also. So today I have a very wonderful and special guest. His name is Bob Choat, and he is a marital artist, NLP Master trainer, cybersectarian psychologist, and also a very amazing personality. So yes, without wasting a time, let's get started. Hello, Sir Dr. Bob Choat. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, Ikra. It's really what you've done and like with the Rihan School, which I really appreciate. Uh, just to let people know that Rihan, uh, I did not know that he started school. I remember him talking about starting the school a long time ago, but we're actually friends.
Oh, oh, that's great. Like you are a friend of Sir Yana Lawala, right?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, that's wonderful, amazing, lovely to hear. I don't know about it.
hmm
Okay, so sir, can you please introduce yourself once a time so my viewers know about you
Sure.
very deeply?
Sure. Yeah. So just starting off, just to let people know that I'm a very curious person. I love to learn a lot of different things. You mentioned coding and back when I was in in my last semester in high school, I was going to University of Southern California every Saturday and I was studying an old computer programming language called Fortran 4. Used to program big mainframe computers and each line of code had to be on the card like like a real card you do each line of code, and you have a stack of cards, let's say like 500 cards, that you would feed into a card reader that would be put onto a magnetic tape. So that's me going long, 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 long time ago. That was in 1968 when I was still 16 years old. And going before that, you mentioned martial arts. I've been in a martial arts since I was 18 months old. My mom was my first teacher in a martial arts. I'm half Japanese. My mom came from Japan. She learned the martial arts from her older brothers. Both kendo, she put a stick in my hand and was teaching me like sword fighting and also judo. My uncles, both of them were masters in both kendo and judo. And so I got to learn from my mom, then later my uncle Keiji, and I lived in Okinawa for 3 years where I studied Goju from age 5 to age 8. So Goju is a form of an Okinawan karate. If people have heard of the Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi came from Okinawa where he studied in terms of that. I also lived in Okinawa a long time ago. And then I studied martial arts later throughout my life, multiple different martial arts, earning multiple high-level black belts in different arts as well. And I continue to study to this day. Also, I'm into fitness and I love doing like calisthenics and everything. Also parkour. If you ever watch YouTube videos of these young people going over obstacles, jumping off the buildings and everything like that, that's some of the stuff that I was doing as an older person because I'm 73 years old. And still doing being active. Going into psychology, I love studying the mind. And you mentioned NLP Master Trainer, Master. So NLP is just a basically something that I teach. I do practitioner trainings, master practitioner, and I train other trainers to learn how to do NLP. One of the big people out here in the United States, a guy named Tony Robbins, he uses that as in terms of what he teaches. So that's one of the things that I've done. And with NLP, basically it's a learning and modeling of excellence. If you can learn from somebody else and what they've done, you can incorporate some of that into yourself. Psychology, I've studied it. I love again like studying the mind and everything, going all the way up to learning in terms of clinical psychology, and also neuropsychology. Neuropsychology is more of the biological nature of behavior regarding what happens within the brain, like studying in terms of neuroscience and everything. So I love studying that. I love studying a lot of different things, philosophy, leadership. I have a master's in leadership. I applied leadership. I've learned a lot when I was in the United States Marine Corps for 8 years, and also with the Los Angeles Police Department, and building up my businesses and so forth. So I continue this journey, like you learning. I'm still learning. That's yeah. I love that you code. I self-taught myself how to do Python and R and C++ and Ruby on Rails and all these things. I love AI. I'm an older person that loves AI. I incorporate it into everything I do. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's a very wonderful interview, and that's a very wonderful intro also. Okay, so like you mentioned that you are an NLP trainer, and by the way, you look so young. Okay, okay, so can you tell me about a little bit about NLP?
Yeah, so I mentioned a little bit earlier. So NLP is a learning and modeling of excellence, and NLP itself, if you break it down, the so it's not like NLP in in AI or in the computer industry. That's a different kind of NLP. That's natural language processing. When I'm talking about NLP is basically programming the mind. Okay, so there's two different NLPs, and I've studied both NLPs, by the way. So let's not get that confused. So the NLP I'm talking about is called neural linguistic programming, and neural of the brain, of the mind. Linguistic is language, and programming comes from from the computer programming world when it was first developed back in the early 1970s by two gentlemen named of Richard Bandler and John Grinder. And they studied how people operate. They looked at some of the best therapists they could find. They found a gal named Virginia Satir back in the 1960s, where she was very excellent in being able to help people, especially like children, also adults and families, in terms of helping them to get past the issues that they're going through. They looked at Milton Erickson, who was a psychiatrist and hypnotist, and using some of his techniques in language and using hypnotic language and everything. They looked at people, including in the cybernetics world. Now, cybernetics is a connection also to what we look at in terms of artificial intelligence and cybernetic organisms and things like that. So connecting all that together too. So they looked at all these different people, and they formed NLP. Since then, NLP has progressed with new people coming in, adding in more stuff, and so forth. And that continuing process all the way to me, because I'm adding in my own insights as well into developing NLP, into becoming better. And so it's again like anything else, just like in the computer industry, it's all about developing and understanding the mind. So I bring a lot of neuroscience into understanding how NLP works, and then also going further into neuroscience. And regarding neuroscience, I'm looking at the connection between computers and the brain as well, and all those things. So it's an exciting world. I feel like yeah, I know I told you my age, but I feel like I'm young just like you and learning all these different things, and how can I do this and this and this and this and this, and I'm looking into the future and excited about the future, and taking everything what I've done, and then how I can help, how I can be a part of that, and you're going to be a big part of that, and looking at, okay, AI, what is the next thing of AI? I look at like all these different industries that can benefit from it, and older people. So let's say like in the future where maybe I can't function as good, let's say, like 20 years from now when I'm in my 90s or when I'm in my hundreds. Imagine having an AI robot, and that was some of the things that I was thinking about. An AI robot that would be a health robot that would be there, and it can call like 911 or emergency, but it can do a lot of it can evaluate. AI can evaluate us right now anyway. We can put in symptoms and it can be just as effective. A lot of medical doctors. Imagine having a robot that has very advanced AI built into it, and it can look at and recognize the signs maybe of an impending heart attack or all these other things. And maybe it can recognize even cancer and things like that and give evaluations. But let's say I have a heart attack and I'm down there. So it can maybe have a built-in defibrillator that would shock me and I would come back up. Then it would call emergency, get me in a hospital. Or it can even learn how to do surgery. You never know, but you still would need a clean environment. But I'm just looking at this is my own mind thinking about healthcare into the future, and everything that you're learning and so forth. That I'm saying, God, this is exciting, exciting stuff. And I'm one of the people not scared of AI because I look at it as a tool. It doesn't control me. I use it as a tool in terms of what I can use.
Oh, yes, great. Yes, lots of people are afraid of AI, that AI will be gets our job. Okay, sir, so I have a question like, what do you think about AI?
Yeah. So you mentioned people are scared of their jobs, and I uh, heard a bunch of experts saying that in the United States, a lot of people that are in white collar jobs, about half of them are going to be losing their jobs. What they did mention, though, is that if those people are smart and they learn something like prompt engineering. Now, prompt engineering, when it first started, like a few years back, and then even just a year ago, and you look at like something like ChatGPT, you have to constantly learn to become more precise in terms of prompt engineering. If these young people graduating from college learn prompt engineering, even if they're white collar jobs, they are the ones going to be hired. So yes, jobs, and I've seen this like going way back. I remember when data entry clerks were like a big job and it was huge. They had schools and all this kind of stuff. That's all gone. Those jobs are gone. Jobs are constantly with new technology coming in, new jobs are going to come in. You have to be smart and start learning that. It's not just about learning, like, for example, being a lawyer. If you're just going to be a lawyer or a legal assistant or paralegal in a legal field, and if you're not studying prompt engineering and AI, you're going to be left behind because they will replace you. They can write briefs and everything. I spent 3.5 years in law school, and if I was getting out, if I was becoming a lawyer now, I'd be scared uh, that if I didn't know. But the thing is, you have to learn. You have to recognize these are tools that you can use, and that so when I look at artificial intelligence, just like anything else, I remember when personal computers were first coming out and people didn't think that personal computers going to be in every home. Then it became in like across the United States in almost every home. So people personal computers, you have a computer that you carry like in a smartphone. That's a personal computer that we didn't think that we can carry a computer with us everywhere. Something that's more powerful holding your hand than NASA. So when NASA sent humans to the moon, all those times, all those multiple times, all the computers they use, you have a computer system in your hand that's more powerful than the whole space program back in the 1960s and 1970s and even into the 1980s. And still, it created new jobs always being created. Again, and if you understand that, you're going to be so far ahead of the game. But if you don't, just like what happened in the past when new technology came in, just like when cars first came in, people were um, doing horse and buggy, and people couldn't like. believe that these vehicles will replace what they're doing. Well, they did. I don't see horse and buggies in the United States anymore, other than maybe in a fairground or like in New Orleans where you can go on this romantic ride and things like that. Uh, or I think even New York City still has some, but you don't see horse and buggies anymore as a regular thing, or people even riding horses that much, except cowboys or something like that. People ride cars. It changed everything. People that made horse and buggies, those companies went out of business. It's always changing, and so we have to understand that. We look at the past as an indicator. Yes, things are going faster, so AI, uh, yeah, I fully embrace it, and 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 I'm excited about it.
Oh, that's great. Like you are excited about it. And yes, we have to learn AI because everything will be changed in a years and AI is coming. So yes, we should have to learn it. Okay, sir. So I have a question like as a psychologist, how do you think that mind exercise is important and how much screen time is important?
Yeah. So when I think about people on screen, or even especially going to social media and they're scrolling and everything, every once in a while is probably okay, and even screen time every once in a while is okay. But our human brains are the same as it's been back to our Paleolithic days that didn't have technology and everything. Our brains were designed to even going outside and experiencing the world with other people or nature and things like that. So overdoing it is not healthy for the brain. And it's not healthy for your body either if you're sitting down and that's all you're doing. My suggestion is for a healthy brain to get your body moving and go out into nature. Then you can come back and do your stuff, whether you're writing new code or anything like that. Yeah, I think that's good in terms of when you're doing coding and everything. That's different than scrolling on social media. So completely different thing because you're now rewiring your brain. Still, your brain needs to movement, especially exercise. And I'm going to talk about like getting healthy and fit and exercise. So every time you exercise regarding the brain, it there's a in the learning part. So there's an area in the brain called the hippocampus. That's responsible for learning and memory. And I'm going to get into a little bit of gene expression and epigenetics. That was some of my background when I wrote my dissertation. And so every time we exercise, it expresses a gene which produces a protein called brain derived neurotropic factor. That's a big word. I'm going to say BDNF for short. So BDNF is responsible for a thing called neurogenesis. Neurogenesis means producing new brain cells or new neurons. So these new brain cells that are being produced happens when you exercise. And is produced in the hippocampus area. So every time you exercise, you go out and you learn something. Now you're going out and you exercise. Your brain is going to grow, and you're going to have better memory, but also better learning, and that's very important. So I'm going to tell everybody that's watching: get up every once in a while, even just if you stand, do like squatting, up and down squatting. Like I'll get out and like maybe every 30 minutes to 1 hour, I'll do anywhere from 50 to 100 squats, just going all the way down, all the way up. And I'm exercising all the time. Or I'll do isometric exercises, which is you're just staying in one position. Like if I'm doing like a curl here and I'm pushing here, this is an isometric exercise. So that works my biceps here. But I do it like even in a squat position. So all these kind of exercises will help the the brain out and make you healthier. And if you want to be healthier and creating AI, you're going to become even more creative because creativity is going to be important for the development of new technologies, incorporating AI into those technologies. Last year, I was working on an app, still working on it, called Mastery X, and Mastery X is a SaaS app, and you understand what a SaaS app is, right? Software as a service. So
Yeah.
so so yeah. So what I did, I incorporated the API from OpenAI and ChatGPT into the app, and this is Mastery X. Mastery X is an app uh, that's in development, but when it's done, people can input their like what they want to learn in anything. And and the way I had it set up, because I used a prompt to that's within a code itself, and in it, that the prompt will say, okay, we're going to start at the beginner level, and you're going to have like testing, but so it's going to test you at each level, and you cannot move to the next level till you master this level. And it could be in anything from like chess or business or anything. And so it'll take each person to the next level. That's the reason it's called mastery. And and in a prompt that I created for that, I used neuroscience in terms of mastery, psychology, and other arenas on how our brain works and how we learn and how we gain mastery. But I'm but I wanted to create an app that people can take and learn and so forth, and so that's part of that. And I'm gonna incorporate what I learned there into my Modern Lyceum Academy as well. So I'm using AI and using it in a more effective way that's going to help us to be able to grow. And I think that's one of the better ways of using AI, that people like, okay, I could become better at what I do because of AI. And and so I just wish people would embrace that more in terms of our brains and learning.
Oh, yes, that's great. And yes, it's my wish also that people have to learn AI. And yes, I completely agree with that. We have to do exercises for refreshing our mind and our body also. Okay, sir. So I wish that you give me a last message so the interview will be ended.
Yeah, the last message, and I think is really important: go through life with a sense of purpose, a big why, what that'll pull you forward in terms of whatever you do. And always be curious. Always be curious by asking questions that you want to know, that you want to know, that you want to learn, and everything like that. This is something I've done and continue to do. So it's not just with young people, but also older people. People all across all generations, all ages need to be always be curious. And when you can always be curious, you're going to learn, you're going to grow, you're going to stay young, and uh, you're not going to be scared of anything, of the unknown, and everything, and just continue that. Okay, that's probably the biggest message.
Oh, that's a wonderful message. I love it. And I hope my viewers can get benefit from it also. And sir, thank you so much for your precious time.
Thank you.
This is a very wonderful and amazing interview for me. Thank you so much for your time again.
You're welcome, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
I also enjoyed it. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.
Bye now. Bye.